In life, sometimes the right decision is gonna feel so wrong. And walking away isn't giving up, it's just making space for something more aligned to come your way. Hello, everyone. Welcome to One More Mile podcast. My name is Paula, and I'm your host. Today, we're going to be talking about breaking up with someone you still love. And this is not only going to be in love relationships, but also friendships, projects, situations, anything that can correlate. Now, we have to agree that when you break up with someone that was toxic, or when you leave a toxic relationship, a toxic friendship, a toxic job, anything that was not good for you, it's easy. It's easy to walk away. Sometimes what I do when I leave those situations is I make a list of every single bad thing, every single limit that was crossed, every single boundary that was overstepped, and I just read that list every single time that I'm thinking of, like, oh my god, I miss this situation, I miss this person, I miss this friendship, I miss this thing. It's easy to leave when it was toxic, but I think it's really hard to leave or to stay out of a relationship when you know and when you see and when it feels like you still love that person, when you still love the friendship, when you still love the project that you were working on, when you still love the job that you were working at, when you still love the environment. It's really hard, and today we're going to talk about it. Now, I do have to admit, and I do have to say that in my mind, everything ends. Everything is going to end no matter what, and that's a good thing. And if you don't see it as a good thing, it's probably because you don't have the tools or you don't have the emotional capacity to turn everything into something good. The biggest example, my life in my home country ended because I moved to New York, and my life only became better after that. Now, if you were fatalistic, you could see like, oh my God, this is the end of the world. This is so cruel. I'm leaving my home country, blah, 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 blah. But if you try to take a good thing out of it, you actually see all the things that came after that, all the things that you built, all the things that you have, and how life did not end. Now, that happens with everything. Every relationship is going to end, whether you like it or not. And I'm not saying that, oh, like, for example, I'm married and like my marriage is going to end. Not necessarily, but we were boyfriend and girlfriend first, and then that ended for us to become a fiance and a fiance. I don't know how you said that, but that ended too for us to become husband and wife. And that will probably end not in the dynamic of like husband and wife, but in the dynamic of like, oh, okay, now you're a mom and dad and you have a family. And that will probably end if you're grandma and grandpa. And that will end if someone gets a divorce. Like, you get what I'm saying? Everything changes, nothing stays the same. And once you learn that's life with everything, you accept the things that happen in your life and you learn how to move on. So I feel like the first step to leaving a situation, a friendship, a love relationship, a job that you still love, but you know is not good for you anymore, or is not letting you grow, or is not giving you peace or anything, but you still deeply love, is to understand that everything is going to change, everything ends, and it's going to end whether if you leave this place or no, whether if you actually quit or not, it will end. So keeping that in mind is going to help you move through this experience. Now, I do feel like majority of especially the love relationships that end when you still care deeply and love so much someone, is because you follow different paths. And I do believe that this is in friendships too, and probably with a job and at your work too. But sometimes you could be so focused on one thing, and you can plan your life for doing one thing, and the other person might not want it, and the other person might not want to do it, might not have it, and that's okay. And a clear example is sometimes when a couple one of them wants to have kids and the other one doesn't want to have kids, and you're just in this constant battle of, you know what, either we're going to get a divorce because none of us is willing to, either have kids or not have kids, and I cannot see my life without having kids, and you cannot see your life having kids. So people get divorced and then you see after a year they get married to someone else and they actually have kids and you're like, what? But you never wanted to have kids. It was just never with you. It was never going to be the time and it was never the right person, sadly, but that actually happens. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie 500 Days of Summer. It's exactly that. You need to go watch it to understand this episode, but it's exactly that. I do think that leaving sometimes doesn't mean stepping away from everything and forgetting. I do believe that sometimes you can still be in touch with a person, be in touch with a situation, be in touch with a workplace, be in touch with the project, be in touch with something that you leave. But in majority of cases, you have to put a closure in that chapter and you have to actually go no contact just for your own mental health and just for your own growth and just for you to get over it. Because let's think about it. If you still love your ex and you broke up, do you really think you're going to go meet someone if you still have that ex added on Instagram? You're probably not. You're probably not going to go on dates. You're probably not going to care of meeting someone because you still think about your ex. I also feel like boundaries and limits within your own self and trying to make a list, either physical in your iPad, pen and paper, whatever you want to do, and trying to think, okay, what are the things that I want to allow and what are the things that I'm not willing to allow, and how do you see your life with this situation in one more year? Oh, I'm actually in a point where if my relationship continues to be this way in a year, it's gonna be the end for me, or we can actually make this work and I know this could change. Same for your job, like and for your work, I think is most obvious. They say like, oh, if you don't want to stay in a workplace, look at your boss's job. Do you see yourself doing that job in 5-10 years? If not, then it's not the job for you, because that's literally the only way of growing to your boss's position. So sadly, if you analyze your limits and the things that you want to achieve and you don't see yourself doing that, you have to leave. As much as you like that, there's not going to be growth enough for you to keep pursuing that dream. And with friendships too, I feel like sometimes we underestimate the power that a friendship can have in our lives, and a power that how much could it affect our mood. And sometimes we just like, you care on cultivating your love relationship and your work, and then you don't cultivate your friendships, or vice versa. You let your friends step on you, and then you only care about standing for yourself in the workplace and in your relationship with your partner or your spouse, but you don't care about stepping for yourself in your friendships, and that is gonna follow you along the way and you're gonna feel it actually. Another thing is that you don't need closure. Some of you, some of us, some people might be lucky to have the closure that they need when they leave some person or when they leave a chapter of their lives. It is good to have that closure and it does help, but sometimes I feel like closure is just you trying to get another sort of connection with this person. Sometimes you're like, yeah, I really need this closure. I really need this conversation. I really need this letter. I really need these words. When in reality, it's just you wanting to see or talk or text that person again. And you don't need that. I've learned that the only closure that you need is the one that you give yourself. And trust me, I've been looking for closure in every single thing that I leave forever. And I usually never get that closure. That closure, you make it on your own. You decide how to make it and you decide how to let go and get over it. But you don't need a conversation, and no one owes you a conversation, sadly. I wish it would be ideal that, when you leave something, you're like, okay, we're going to talk about why. But in reality, sometimes that doesn't happen and it's okay. The love I showed you is yours to keep. And whatever you did while you were in that relationship, in that situation, in that friendship, if you did it from the bottom of your heart, is never going to go away. It's never going to go away. And that person is going to feel it. That person is going to know that you actually care at one point. I feel like I've been with my husband for 4 years. We've been married for 2. So I haven't deal or I can even remember dealing with breaking up with someone you love and like getting over it. It's just been so long. I'm 26, but it feels like it's been so long. But I recently went through a breakup of a project that I really care about. And if you follow me on Instagram, you probably know, if you saw one of my earliest episodes on the podcast about my running story, you probably heard that I had a run club. I co founded a run club with one of my friends in New York City, and the club is still on. I just left. It was on for like 2024, summer 2024, a year. It's more than a year now. And we created this awesome community of people like minded that just loved running. And we actually share so many memories, like going to another state and running and doing a half marathon. And my first marathon was with 2 people from this club, and then maybe like 5 of them went to cheer to another country. And it was just special moments and special key things that I will forever be grateful. And when I made the decision of living this club, and I'm not going to get too much into detail, but when I made the decision, I mainly made it of, am I truly happy? Which, don't get me wrong, I definitely was. Like, I feel like the only thing that kept me going was the community and was the people and was seeing my friends every single week. When I came into this country, I literally had no friends, and I struggled with making good friends because I had people that were my coworkers that I thought were my friends, and they betray you. This happened, this and that, blah, blah, blah. So I always struggled with that thing. But then once I created this community and once I found all of these amazing people that until this very day, I still consider them my friends, I found something in me. Like, I found this hope living here in New York that I thought I lost when moving to New York. I thought I only had it in Ecuador. I thought I could only be social in Ecuador, and I thought I could only have friends in my home country, and I was doomed to like only have my husband as my best friend and not have any friends. And that community showed me that I could actually have it here. So it's the same when breaking up with someone you love. I loved it that much that it was hard for me to let go. It was hard for me to say, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. But in reality, just with like any relationship, any love relationship, any partner relationship that you have to think about your own mental peace. You have to think about your growth, how you see yourself again, how you see yourself in the next 6 months, how you see yourself in the next year, how you see yourself in 5, 10 years. Are you actually enjoying what you're doing? Do you see yourself being fulfilled and blessed and happy doing the things that you're doing right now? Because if nothing changes, nothing changes. If you don't change it, what you're doing now, in a year, it's going to stay the same. And are you going to be happy, or you're going to be mad at yourself because you didn't take the decision that you actually wanted to take? And I also feel like even with spouse, a partner, a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, and also with a project like this, the one that we had, since it's 2 people, it's like a relationship, right? So you have different ways of seeing life, different ways that you want to do things different, and that's okay, because trust me, that's the magic of life, variety and diversity and everyone thinking different, and that's amazing. But sometimes I feel like it could get overwhelming and it could get exhausting, especially with everything in life going on. Life, your family, friends, your spouse, the house, 9 to 5, kids, whatever you have. It could be a lot to manage. And I feel like that happened to me at one point. I was just like, this is too much for me, and I can't. You know what they say? You can't pour into someone if your cup is not filled enough. And I feel like my cup was not filled enough. But then you actually leave the situation, you leave the relationship, you leave the project, you leave the friendship, you leave whatever you want to leave, and then you're stuck with like this gratification, this instant gratification of like, okay, I did it. But then it comes the wave of thoughts of, I did it. like I actually did it. What's gonna happen now? And then I guess it's just like every breakup. You get over it. You cry, you suffer, you don't suffer, you watch movies, you eat ice cream, you talk about it, you don't talk about it, you listen to music, you don't listen to music, whatever you do to cope, and you get over it and it gets better. And trust me, it's just gonna fill up space for you to do the things that you actually want to do, for you to do the things that you see yourself doing later on. Is actually gonna fill up the space for you to find the person that is gonna be aligned with the things that you want to do in your life. Is gonna be, it's gonna open up the space for you to find the right one. You might not see it now. You might just think like, oh my God, I break up with the love of my life. I'm never gonna love again. Trust me, you're gonna love again. Trust me, you're gonna get over it. It's just you have to cry it out. You have to enjoy the breakup a little bit. Remember that sometimes you have to let go of the things that you love to get the things that you deserve. I know it's hard and I know it hurts, but at the end of the day, you're only gonna suffer for a certain amount of time. There's not a time frame. I can't tell you like, oh, a breakup is a year, a breakup is 6 months. No, that's on your time, but you're gonna suffer for just an amount of time, and then you're gonna get over it, and then you're gonna see it, and you're gonna be like, it's good that I did that. It's really good that I did that. I deserve it, and now I have something better. And something better could look very different. You could feel like you had all of these plans and you wanted to be with a doctor and you wanted to be with someone married in, I don't know, your home country. And then you turn it upside down and you're married to someone from a different culture in another continent. And that's okay, because when you plan life, life laughs at you. So, one step at a time, remember everything ends, everything changes. And that's the beauty of life. That was this week's episode. I feel like I talked about, yes, breaking up with someone you love in a romantic aspect, but also me breaking up with my ex drunk love. Um, yeah, I just wanted to talk about it. It's been a while now since I left, and I feel like I will never fully heal that aspect. I feel like it's still something that is very boom 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 in my heart, but at the same time I'm grateful for the experiences, and just like living a relationship, like a romantic relationship, I'm very grateful for the experiences. I'm very blessed to have loved and lived, and the memories and everything. And I know that when you make space for peace and when you make space for love in your heart, love is just gonna come around. And when you give love to people, the love comes back. And it has come back so far, so I will hope that it keeps coming back. But okay, I'm gonna keep rambling. If I don't shut up, I'm gonna keep rambling, so I'm just gonna shut up and remind you guys that all of my social media is gonna be linked below or anywhere that you can find it. And I'll see you on the next podcast episode.